What's up, guys? We got UFC 313 Pereira versus Ankalaev full card picks and betting breakdown. And I'm excited to get into this one. There are a lot of great fights on this card. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with the first bout of the night being Chris Gutierrez versus John Castañeda. And I like this matchup. I think that this is a great matchup. Tapology has this as a bout at 136. It is actually at 145 between these two. And I feel like that really doesn't change much. My pick is going to be John Castañeda over Chris Gutierrez, which may surprise a couple of you, but I think Castañeda is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a very pressure-heavy fighter that has good striking. He has knockout power. He mixes up his shots to the head and to the body really, really well. He has snappy high and low kicks. And he's got a good grappling skill set to fall back on if he has any troubles in the striking department. So I really like the well-roundedness of John Castañeda. I think he's got strong takedowns. I think he knows how to advance position when he gets you down to the ground. He's got quick transitions, tricky submissions. I think that John Castañeda is a very well-rounded fighter that has a lot of skill sets anywhere this fight goes. Though coming off of the decision loss to Daniel Marcos, where his grappling didn't look the best, I think Daniel Marcos just is one of those up-and-coming, highly touted prospects with a lot of skill in terms of striking, in terms of defensive grappling. He looked phenomenal. But in somebody like Chris Gutierrez, he has lost to people like Song Yadong and Pedro Munoz, where they kind of use grappling and pressure to overwhelm Gutierrez. And I feel like Castañeda can do the same thing. He has the loss, like I said, to Daniel Marcos, the win over Kyung Ho Kang, and the win over Muin Gafarov, who both have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and who are really, really good in terms of grappling. So I feel like the grappling advantage has to go to Castañeda. I get that Gutierrez is a step up in competition from who Castañeda was previously supposed to fight, which was Douglas Silva de Andrade. It is a step up, but I believe Castañeda can do well in this. I really do. I feel like Chris Gutierrez has great striking, don't get me wrong, and he mixes up his shots really well. He has quick hands, clean combinations, but I feel like he lacks in the grappling department. He has all right grappling with relatively good takedown defense. I feel like he kind of lacks in that department, and I feel like somebody like Castañeda can exploit it. I feel like he can apply that pressure, that pace, and really kind of keep Gutierrez guessing and keep him on his back foot, and then you'll see Castañeda land some nice takedowns in the mix of his striking. I really think that Castañeda can get this done. I think that he has a grappling advantage, and I think he's going to use it to the best of his abilities to beat Chris Gutierrez. And let's go ahead and look at the odds on this fight, in which you have Chris Gutierrez sitting at a plus 105 and John Castañeda sitting at a negative 123. I like John Castañeda over Gutierrez. I really do. I think that he has a grappling advantage, like I said. I think striking-wise, he can fare just as well up against Chris Gutierrez, and even better in the sense of applying that pressure and that pace and really just making Gutierrez uncomfortable. I think Gutierrez is going to look to maintain that distance and keep John Castañeda at bay, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that because I think Castañeda can enter and exit the pocket with ease, and I think he's going to find some success with the grappling side of things. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 325, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 250. I like the overs. I think Castañeda is live for a submission, but more than likely it's going to be a decision victory for Castañeda over Chris Gutierrez. And let's go ahead and run it to the next bout on this card in Ozzy Diaz versus Djorden Santos. And this is an interesting one. You have two relatively unproven fighters, to be completely honest. You have Ozzy Diaz, who has been in the UFC twice, but has gotten knocked out both times. Once by Joe Pyfer and once by Ming Yang Zhang, which both of these guys are absolutely highly skilled fighters, to be completely honest. So take those losses with a grain of salt, because those are two top-ranked opponents in the UFC. And then you have the win over an LFA over Bevan Lewis, the win over an LFA over Chuck Campbell. But I think the pick for me is Djorden Santos. I think that he's more well-rounded than Ozzy Diaz. I think that Ozzy Diaz has a good striking skill set. He has a good 1-2 down the middle. But I think Djorden Santos has more skills, more tools in his tool bag, if you will. He has a good grappling skill set. He has a good striking skill set. He can mix it up on the feet. He can mix it up on the ground. I think Djorden Santos can beat Ozzy Diaz, though this is a step up in competition. The odds are a little bit wide to me because I think that they should be closer, but I really think that this is a huge step up in competition for Djorden Santos. I think that he can get this done if he uses the grappling along with the striking to set up the takedowns and to set up the striking with the hooks that he has. I like Djorden Santos. I think that he's going to get it done. I think Ozzy Diaz is not UFC caliber. I do think that this is going to be a very tit-for-tat, back-and-forth fight where I think Djorden Santos lands a clean counter and knocks out Ozzy Diaz. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here. Ozzy Diaz sitting at a plus 168. Djorden sitting at a negative 193. I like Djorden. I think that he's going to use the grappling to set up the striking, and he's going to find a clean counter hook on Ozzy Diaz and lay him flat out. We don't know how Ozzy Diaz's chin is. Obviously, he's been cracked by two very well-ranked and highly touted prospects, so obviously you take it with a grain of salt, but his chin definitely isn't the strongest, and I think Santos can touch that chin and will touch it with a counter hook. And the over 2.5 sitting at a plus 110, under 2.5 sitting at a negative 140. Like I said, I like Djorden Santos via knockout. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this card in Mairon Santos versus Francis Marshall. I like Mairon Santos over Francis Marshall, but I think that the odds are completely crazy on this fight. Like, absolutely insane between Mairon Santos and Francis Marshall, because Mairon Santos is still relatively unproven. He really is. He has the win over Khan Ofli, who is more of a grappler rather than a striker, and he knocked him out in devastating fashion. I mean, it looked clean. And then you have the win over Barbosa and LFA, and the loss to Dan Argueta, where he got absolutely starched and pummeled by Dan Argueta on the ground. I mean, this one is a very tough call, but I did go with Mairon Santos. I think that he has a very, very good striking skill set. I do acknowledge that this is a striker versus grappler. I feel like Francis is more of a grappler. He has a decent striking skill set, but I think that he more or less favors into that grappling side of things, whereas Mairon is more of a use the grappling to defensively stay on the feet and use the striking to absolutely destroy his opponents. I like Mairon Santos. I really do. I think that he's going to be able to keep this on the feet. I think at times he will find himself taken down, but I think that he will be able to explode back up to his feet. I think that he will be able to maneuver and find his way out of the grasp of Francis Marshall. I think Francis Marshall kind of lacks in the sense of maintaining his opponents on the ground. He is good at getting them on the ground, but sucks at maintaining them on the ground. So I favor Mairon Santos in that aspect, especially in the striking aspect of things. He is quick, he is slick on the feet, he has phenomenal footwork, he has devastating knockout power, he has nasty high and low kicks. Though having that suspect grappling, like I said, I gotta go with Mairon Santos. I think that defensively he's going to keep this on the feet, he's going to keep it in the striking realm of things, and I think he's going to catch a Francis Marshall and put him out. I think he's got extraordinary knockout power, and I think he's going to use it here, and I think he also knows how to set himself up to use the knockout power to the best of his abilities with his phenomenal footwork and his slickness and elusiveness. I got to go with Mairon Santos. And the odds sitting at a negative 360 for Mairon Santos and Francis Marshall sitting at a plus 295. Like I said earlier, these odds are absolutely crazy to me. You have Mairon Santos, who is still, again, relatively unproven. He beat Khan Ofli. And then he has the loss against Dan Argueta, where he got absolutely pummeled. So Mairon Santos is not somebody I would confidently say is a negative 360, but I do think he will get the better of a Francis Marshall and will show that he is a better striker, and not only that, able to defensively keep this on the feet and outstrike, outwork, and outdamage a Francis Marshall. Sitting at a negative 175 for the over 2.5, I think that is live. Under 2.5, sitting at a plus 145. I think that it's a very close tit for tat type of style. I think that Mairon Santos is going to land the more damaging shots and keep this on the feet and get the better of Francis Marshall. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this card in Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. And in this one, I feel like there's only one way to go. I'm going to be completely honest. It's Carlos Leal over Alex Morono. Alex Morono he's just too inconsistent, to be completely honest. Not only that, he hasn't won in a very long time. He has the loss to Daniel Rodriguez, the loss to Nico Price, the win over Court McGee, who's 40, the loss to Joaquin Buckley, and then the win over Tim Means, a 34-year-old, 35-year-old. Another, really old and later end of their career vet is what I'm meaning to say. So I feel like Alex Morono just isn't able to keep up with the new up-and-comers and just has been looking a lot slower, a lot awkward, and a lot more clunky in the striking department. And overall, he just hasn't shown any improvement, to be completely honest. He really hasn't. This is really just a fight where I feel like Carlos Leal is going to absolutely starch Alex Morono. And I do think that the odds are wide on this one as well, but I do believe Carlos Leal will find the knockout shot on Alex Morono. Carlos Leal has devastating knockout power. He mixes up his shots really, really well on the feet. And not only that, he has good accuracy. Very, very good accuracy. And he has devastating knockout power. I think Carlos Leal is going to catch Alex Morono. I think that Morono has been looking slower, more clunky, like I said. And I feel like Carlos Leal is going to come in there. He's hungry. He wants to win. He's coming off of the loss to Rinat Fakhretdinov, which could have gone either way, in my opinion. But now you give him a Alex Morono, who I feel like is definitely a step down in competition. And I feel like Carlos Leal can get him out of there early. I really do. Carlos Leal has 2 knockout wins over in LFA and UAE over Mauricio Brunno and Manuel Menena, and I think he can deliver a knockout finish over in the UFC. So let's get it. Carlos Leal by knockout, and let's look at the odds. Carlos Leal sitting at a negative 725. A negative 725 is absolutely insane. Alex Morono sitting at a plus 525. I get Alex Morono only wins against 40-year-olds and just hasn't been looking the same, has been looking a lot more inconsistent, a lot slower, and a lot clunkier. But he by no means should be a plus 525. No way in hell should he be a plus 525. That being said, Carlos Leal sitting at a negative 725. I like Carlos Leal. Not much value you can really get out of him. You could throw him in a parlay, but again, very, very risky, to be completely honest, because Alex Morono still at times can look very, very good. It's just which Alex Morono you're getting, and Carlos Leal showed a lot of promise against Rinat Fakhretdinov, and I think he can get it done against Alex Morono. Over 1.5 sitting at a negative 205, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 165. I like the under 2.5. I think Carlos Leal will starch Alex Morono, and I think he's going to do it before the second. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this card in Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan, and this is a banger. This is going to be possibly fight of the night, to be completely honest. You have 2 strikers going at it, but let's not forget that Bruno Ferreira has a relatively good grappling game as well, which is something I wanted to bring up at the start of it, because he has solid grappling with a good, solid judo base. He knows how to take you down. He knows how to maintain control of you. He knows how to advance positions. He has a relatively good grappling skill set and an even better striking skill set. He's a pressure fighter with knockout power, with good striking, with devastating accuracy, and has nasty hooks, as well as that overhand right. So I gotta go with Bruno Ferreira. Not only that, he thrives in a brawl, which I see this turning into a brawl. I see Armen Petrosyan and Bruno Ferreira stepping up in the pocket and absolutely duking it out in what is going to be an absolute banger fight. I think that Bruno Ferreira is obviously has the reach advantage, which I also want to bring up, because something that Armen Petrosyan likes to do is fight from the outside. He's not going to be able to do that here against Bruno Ferreira. He's going to try to fight from the outside, but it's going to fail him. He's not going to be able to enter and exit the pocket with ease like he does against normal opponents. He's going to get tagged as he enters the pocket. Not only that, sometimes he leaves himself open to that overhand shot, which I feel like Bruno Ferreira can cleanly land and land with power. I think that you could see a possible knockout for Bruno Ferreira happening. I really do. Not to mention, we don't know how Armen Petrosyan's chin is after the brutal knockout from Shada Magomedov. That double spinning back fist knocked him out cleanly. We don't know how his chin is. Not only that, his grappling is relatively good, but take that with a grain of salt. I think that Bruno Ferreira has the grappling advantage. I think that even striking-wise, he is going to have the reach and be able to enter and exit the pocket with ease against a Armen Petrosyan. So give me Bruno Ferreira over Armen Petrosyan, especially seeing Bruno Ferreira go toe-to-toe with Abus Magomedov. I get Magomedov had a good grappling skill set. That's really what pushed him over Bruno Ferreira. But Bruno Ferreira had moments in this. He definitely did, and he tagged him a couple times. And then you have the win over Dustin Silvis, where he spinning elbowed him. The win over Phil Hawes, where he flying kneed him. And then the loss to Nursultan Ruziboev. So he has only lost to some really highly ranked fighters and really good fighters in Abus Magomedov and Nursultan Ruziboev. So I gotta go with Bruno Ferreira. I think that he's better. Armen Petrosyan has lost to Adolfo Vieira, where he got subbed. Which Adolfo Vieira is a black belt jiu-jitsu, a Brazilian black belt jiu-jitsu, and the wins over Christian Leroy and AJ Dobson. I think Bruno Ferreira is going to absolutely outdog, outwork, and outstrike an Armen Petrosyan, and you're going to see that overhand right go to town on Armen Petrosyan. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here. With Bruno Ferreira sitting at a plus 129, Armen Petrosyan sitting at a negative 149. I like Bruno Ferreira. I think that plus money is perfect for him. I love the value in Bruno Ferreira. I think he has a grappling advantage. I think that striking-wise, he even has the reach advantage and is going to be able to enter and exit the pocket against somebody like Armen Petrosyan and have no trouble with it. I think he's got cleaner inside boxing. He's got nastier hooks. He's got the cleaner accuracy. So I got to go with Bruno Ferreira. Over 2.5 sitting at a plus 115. Under 2.5 sitting at a negative 145. I like the under, and I think Bruno Ferreira catches him with an overhand right that lays Armen Petrosyan out. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight in Rei Tsuruya versus Joshua Van. And I love this matchup, but the pick for me is Joshua Van over Rei Tsuruya. I think that he has gone up against the better competition. First off, he has also faced somebody with relatively good grappling in the sense of Cody Djorden in his last fight. He snubbed the takedowns. Yes, he did get taken down, but he eventually got back up to his feet, outstruck, outworked, and outdamaged a Cody Djorden. And Cody Djorden is up there with the best of the best and has outgrappled some of the best of the best. So I gotta go with Joshua Van. I gotta favor him. The competition that he has faced is a lot better. Edgar Chairez. You have the loss to Charles Johnson via uppercut, but he was piecing him up before that. And then you have the win over Felipe Boons, the win over Kevin Boras. I mean, Joshua Van is a really, really good prospect with dangerous striking abilities. He has nasty, nasty combinations in close. He mixes it up to the head and to the body really, really well. One of the best in the division is Joshua Van at mixing it up to the head and to the body and really eating away at that midsection of yours. He also has nice kicks from the outside. He has relatively good takedown defense. So I gotta go with Joshua Van. Tsuruya has really good grappling, but lacks in the striking department. He doesn't bring enough of a striking threat to really, I feel like, scare his opponents into worrying about his striking over his grappling. So I think that Joshua Van is going to be looking to snub the takedowns and just outstrike and outwork a Rei Tsuruya. And I believe he's going to be able to. If you look at the competition that Tsuruya's faced, he beat Carlos Hernandez, where it was a back and forth in terms of grappling. in terms of striking, Carlos Hernandez was getting a little bit better shots off on Tatsuda. And then you have the win over in Road to UFC, which is not known to have the best of competition. So obviously take that one with a grain of salt. Where he got the technical knockout over Jinsuyu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I just feel like I got to go with Joshua Van. I feel like the competition on his side has been better. I feel like he brings a better striking threat. Not only that, he has good defensive grappling. So I'm going with Joshua Van over Tatsuda. And let's go ahead and look at the odds. Sitting at a plus 164 for Tatsuda. For Joshua Van, sitting at a negative 189. I like Joshua Van. I think that he's going to mix it up to the body. I think he's going to eat away at that midsection of Tatsuda. And I think that he could find himself with a knockout or technical knockout in the later rounds, really eating away at Tatsuda. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 210. Under 2.5 sitting at a plus 170. I like Joshua Van, and I like the side of possibly the under, but I'm going to say no, I think under's the call. I really do. I think I see Joshua Van landing to that midsection, keeping this on the feet. You might see Tatsuda land like one takedown after like 5, but I still think Joshua Van is going to be able to piece him up on the feet, keep this on the feet, use the grappling defensively to stay on the feet, like I said. So give me Joshua Van to beat Rei Tsuruya via knockout or technical knockout. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight in Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. And this is an interesting one. You have a guy in Rizvan Kuniev who is making his UFC debut and is going up against the number 5 ranked Curtis Blaydes. And I was going back and forth. I'm like, why would they feed Rizvan Kuniev to the wolves? But the more that I looked at it, I feel like Rizvan Kuniev has a path to victory, but I don't see that happening. The path to victory for Rizvan Kuniev just doesn't seem likely to me. I think it's more than likely that Curtis Blaydes gets the better of Rizvan Kuniev. I mean, Kuniev is a blob. He looks all right in the striking department. He has nasty knockout power, obviously, just like a lot of these heavyweights. But he is very slow. He's not very quick with his jab, quick with his combinations. He can land and it can hit you and it can infect you. But I feel like Curtis Blaydes is a little bit quicker with his striking. I feel like he also brings a grappling background as well. Yes, Rizvan Kuniev is Dagestan and has a little bit of grappling. Let's not get that twisted. But I think Curtis Blaydes has been up against a better competition. Yes, he has gotten 2 knockout losses as of lately to Tom Aspinall and to Sergey Pavlovich. But let's not forget that he beat Jailton Almeida via knockout. He beat Tom Aspinall due to a knee injury. I get that, but he still beat him. And then you have the knockout over Chris Daukaus. I feel like Curtis Blaydes can beat Rizvan Kuniev. I really do. I think that though this is a step up for Rizvan Kuniev, I think that he could put on a show as well. I think that this is going to be a tit-for-tat close fight, but I think it's going to be Curtis Blaydes with the experience and with the striking aspect of the game a little bit better and crisper and cleaner from the outside. I got to go with Curtis Blaydes. I think that he's going to get the better of him. I think he's going to maintain that distance. If Rizvan Kuniev comes inside, you could see Curtis Blaydes possibly shooting for a takedown, but more than likely, you're going to see him fighting mainly on the outside because he likes to strike from the outside. He works better from the outside. He has nice kicks from the outside. I got to go with Curtis Blaydes. He's faced the better competition, and I think he's going to beat a Rizvan Kuniev who is coming into this against a way better competitor than he's ever faced before. So give me Curtis Blaydes over Rizvan Kuniev. And let's look at the odds here, with Curtis Blaydes sitting at a negative 310, Rizvan Kuniev sitting at a plus 260, so the odds makers agree with me. I think Curtis Blaydes, with the UFC experience, is going to get the better of a Rizvan Kuniev. I think that this is a huge step up for Rizvan Kuniev. I think that they're giving him a shot of the lifetime, and I think that Curtis Blaydes is just going to be too much for him, and he's going to get the better of him. Over 2.5 sitting at a plus 120, under 2.5 sitting at a negative 150. I think this fight goes over, and I see a knockout happening on either side, but I think it's Curtis Blaydes landing the better shots and wiping Rizvan Kuniev off the mat. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this card in King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy for the main card opener. Ooh, and this one, there is really only one way you can go with this one, and it's Mauricio Ruffy over King Green. King Green is coming to the later end of his career, though coming off of the submission loss to Paddy Pimblett and the win over Jim Miller and the loss to Jalin Turner where he got starched. I feel like Mauricio Ruffy can do a similar thing to what Jalin Turner did to King Green, to be completely honest. I feel like Mauricio Ruffy can flat King Green out, like flatline him. I really do. I think Mauricio Ruffy is very, very slick with his striking. He has a lot of knockout power, and he is very elusive and slick on the feet. He's got quick hands. He's got that dangerous knockout power. He mixes up his shots really, really well to the head and to the body, and he is coming off of 5 knockout wins in a row. If you see the win over James Lontop, my apologies, and then the 5 knockouts in a row of Malarkey, Magomed, and then Torres, and then Lascar. He has a lot of knockout ability. He knows how to use his power to the best of his abilities. He knows how to use his footwork to put him in positions to use that power to the best of his abilities. And I see Mauricio Ruffy doing exactly that here against King Green and putting him out. I really do. I think the straight shots are there. I think he's slicker. I think he's going to be able to maneuver a lot better than King Green. And I feel like he's going to find that knockout shot on him. So give me Mauricio Ruffy via knockout. I think he gets it done early, and I think it could be a first-round knockout for Mauricio Ruffy. 1 shot is all he needs. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here with Bobby Green sitting at a plus 360, Mauricio Ruffy sitting at a negative 460, and I agree with the odds. I really think that this is going to be a slaughter, and I think it's Mauricio Ruffy getting a early first round knockout over Bobby Green. I think the straight shots down the middle are going to be it, and I think it's going to be Ruffy walking away with the knockout victory. Over 1.5 sitting at a negative 225, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 185. Give me Mauricio Ruffy under 2.5. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this card in Amanda Lemos versus Iasmin Lucindo. And the pick for me is Iasmin Lucindo. I like Lucindo. She's coming off of the victory over Marina Rodriguez, where she showed very, very good striking, very good grappling abilities as well, and looks solid in every single aspect of the fight game. And then you have the win over Carolina Kowalski, and then the win over Polyana Viana, where she submitted her, and the win over Brogdon Walker, which isn't the best win, to be completely honest, but the other wins are great, great wins. She looked phenomenal in them. Her grappling ability is phenomenal. She has strong takedowns. She knows how to maintain control of you when she gets you down. She's got quick transition, tricky submissions. I like the side of Lucindo in terms of grappling advantage. She has a clear-cut grappling advantage. In terms of striking, she's a slick striker with knockout power, and she's got clean combinations and quick hands. So I like the well-rounded side of Lucindo. Though Amanda Lemos is no bum, no slouch. She has a really good striking skill set. She's also very slick on the feet. She has that knockout power. She has the quick hands as well. She has nasty high and low kicks. And she has really, really good crafty combinations. So I like the side of striking from Amanda Lemos. I think that she has a striking advantage, but I think that if Lucindo can mix in her striking with her grappling, I think she's going to get the better of Amanda Lemos, and that's exactly what I see happening. I think that she's going to fare well in the striking department. She's going to have moments in the striking department, but I think that she's going to fare even better in the grappling department, garnering some control time and landing some nice ground and pound on Amanda Lemos. Give me Iasmin Lucindo over Amanda Lemos. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here, with Amanda Lemos sitting at a plus 121, Lucindo sitting at a negative 141. I like Lucindo. I think that is great value. I think you can add her into a parlay, or even throw her straight down the middle with money line. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 265. Under 2.5 sitting at a plus 205. I like the over. I think this hits the scorecards, and I think it's Lucindo getting the better of Lemos in a very tit-for-tat, back-and-forth battle. And let's go ahead and run it to the next fight on this main card in what is another banger. Jalin Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes is a banger fight. The pick for me is going to be Jalin Turner. I think that he's going to beat Bahamondes. I think that Turner has been up there with the best. He has fought against the best, and he had moments against the best multiple times. You have the loss to Moicano, where he dropped him in the beginning, and then didn't follow him to the ground and decided to walk off thinking he had the walk-off knockout, thinking he was the shit. So his IQ definitely isn't the best. Keep that in mind. And then you have the win over King Green, where he knocked him out. The loss to Dan Hooker, where he went toe-to-toe with Dan Hooker in striking. The loss to Mateus Gamrot, toe-to-toe with Gamrot in striking. Did not get knocked out. Did not get crazily beat. He had moments in that fight along with the Dan Hooker fight. And then the win over Brad Riddell, where he submitted him. I think Jalin Turner is going to put the pause on Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes has the win over Manuel Torres. Even though Manuel Torres is a very highly touted prospect, he kind of abandoned his game plan. He got tagged a few times by Bahamondes early and then just threw his game plan out the window and just started slugging with Bahamondes and got caught and got dropped and got knocked out. I mean, Bahamondes is a very good striker. He's very slick. He's very he's got a very quick, stiff jab. He mixes it up. I like the side of Bahamondes in terms of striking, but I also like the side of Jalin Turner in terms of striking. I think he's got the better knockout power. I think he's a lot more slick. He's got a good kickboxing type of style. He's got good kicks from the outside. He's got high and low snappy kicks. I'm going to favor Jalin Turner. I think he's got more tools in the tool bag. I think he's going to bring a very, very good striking approach in the sense of using kicks from the outside, also mixing in those right and left hooks that he has, and getting the better of Ignacio Bahamondes. I think that he's going to be slicker on the feet, and he's going to get the better of him. And Bahamondes has the win over Giagos before that Manuel Torres fight, and the loss to Ludovic Klein, which doesn't look good at all, because Ludovic Klein did have a tough battle with Roosevelt Roberts. And then you have the win over Trey Ogden and Rong Zhu. Ignacio Bahamondes has been up against some really good competitors too, but not at the level of Jalin Turner. When you want to talk about Dan Hooker and Mateus Gamrot versus Rong Zhu or Trey Ogden or Ludovic Klein, they are nowhere near the level. So I gotta favor Jalin Turner in this match. I think he's gonna get the better of Bahamondes on the feet. And the odds sitting at a plus 101 for Jalin Turner. Ignacio Bahamondes sitting at a negative 121. I like Jalin Turner, especially at plus money. You're getting great value. I think he's been up against a better competition. He's had moments up against a better competition, and I think he's going to beat a up-and-coming prospect in Ignacio Bahamondes. I think that Bahamondes is a very highly skilled fighter, but I think that he's just coming into a brick wall, to be completely honest. Jalin Turner is just going to be better. It's going to be a very tit-for-tat back and forth battle. I do think that this also has fight of the night potential as well. You're going to see a very strike heavy approach from both sides of things. And I think it's going to be Jalin Turner getting the better of Ignacio Bahamondes, mixing it up on the feet more. Over 1.5 sitting at a negative 185. Under 1.5 sitting at a plus 155. I like the over, and I like Jalin Turner getting the better of Ignacio Bahamondes. And let's go ahead and run it to the co-main event of the evening in Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. And the pick for me is Rafael Fiziev. I'm just kidding. Nah, the pick for me is Justin the Highlight Gaethje. You cannot tell me that Rafael Fiziev is going to beat Justin Gaethje. Listen, I get that Justin Gaethje is coming off of the knockout loss to Max Holloway, where he got starched in the last round and was getting beat in every single round. To be completely honest, not every single round, but most of the rounds were Max Holloway piecing him up. I think that Justin Gaethje can beat Rafael Fiziev. He's seen him once, he's beat him once, and he can beat him again. He's seen the tools that Rafael Fiziev has brought. And Justin Gaethje has progressively gotten better. I mean, after his Rafael Fiziev fight, you have the knockout over Dustin Poirier. I get that you have the loss to Max Holloway, but he took some time off, he recovered, and now you got a fully ready Justin Gaethje to come back. And then on the other side of it, you have where he lost to Justin Gaethje, and then he didn't fight for 6 months. Not that long in between, to be completely honest. But then the leg injury over Mateus Gamrot. And he hasn't fought in a year and 5 months. And now he is the betting favorite over Justin Highlight the Gaethje. I don't understand it. I really don't. I think that Justin Gaethje is going to get the better of Rafael Fiziev. Not only that, let's not forget he was piecing him up on the feet. He was hitting him with some nice hooks on the inside. He was able to mix it up with his kicks high and low. And I think that we're going to see that here again from Justin Gaethje. He's going to mix it up from body shot to head shot to calf kicks, and he's going to get the better of Rafael Fiziev. Not to mention, Gaethje has one of the nastiest leg kicks, and Rafael Fiziev is coming off of that leg injury. I get it's from a while ago, and it's probably healed, but that's still going to affect you, and it's still going to affect you in the fight is what I'm trying to say. And Gaethje is going to eat away at those legs and eat away at that body / head. So I'm going with Justin Gaethje to get the better of Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev has good striking. Don't get me wrong. He's no bum, no slouch. He mixes it up really, really well with his combinations, his quick hands, and his craftiness. But I just think that Justin Gaethje is craftier. He's got more experience. He has progressively gotten better. He's progressively been in the cage, whereas Rafael Fiziev has not really been in the cage as much due to the leg injury. And that's why I got to favor Justin Gaethje over Rafael Fiziev. And let's go ahead and look at the odds. Justin Gaethje sitting at a plus 135. Rafael Fiziev sitting at a negative 155. I like Justin Gaethje. I think plus money for Justin Gaethje sounds money to me. And I think that he's going to beat a Rafael Fiziev that he's beaten once, and he can do so again. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 130. Under 2.5 sitting at a plus 100. I like the over. Though I would probably stick away from the rounds on this fight. You got two absolute brawlers that are going to go in there and absolutely slug it out in the octagon. And I'm just going to favor Justin Gaethje to get the better of Rafael Fiziev. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets laid out. And let's go ahead and run it to the main event of the evening in Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. And man, oh man, have we been waiting for so long, to be completely honest, on this fight. I am going to pick Magomed Ankalaev, and I know that's going to shock a lot of you. I am a big Alex Pereira fan. Don't get me wrong. I could see how there's both sides of this to who's going to win, but I got to favor Magomed Ankalaev. I cannot just throw the grappling side of things into the wind and say, oh, Alex Pereira is going to starch Magomed Ankalaev. Because I do see a world where that could happen, but I feel like that's just kind of throwing away the other aspect of the fight. The grappling side of things, Alex Pereira lacks on. He lacks in the grappling department. He's gotten taken down every single time he's been in a fight, whether Adesanya, whether Jan Blachowicz. I mean, I think that Magomed Ankalaev is going to be able to take him down easily, be able to garner some control time. We could possibly see some get-up game from Alex Pereira, but overall, I think Magomed is going to be able to keep him down on the ground, be able to land some nice ground and pound, and also mix it up on the feet as well. Though I do think Alex Pereira has the striking advantage, I think Magomed Ankalaev still is a good striker. He has devastating knockout power. He has good counter-striking abilities. He mixes it up to the head and to the body really well, and he's got sniper accuracy. He's got sniper accuracy. I mean, he is slick and he's got deadly accuracy. I like the side of Magomed Ankalaev. I think that in terms of striking, I think that he's not at a huge disadvantage in terms of striking and has an even better chance in the grappling department. That's why I'm going with Magomed Ankalaev. Though I will say something to definitely worry about from Magomed Ankalaev from Alex Pereira to Magomed Ankalaev is those calf kicks. Jan Blachowicz was absolutely tearing up the calves of Magomed Ankalaev. That was giving him problems. Alex Pereira can do the same exact thing. The other thing that Alex Pereira can do is those left hooks. As Magomed Ankalaev sometimes comes in, he leaves openings for those left hooks, though I know he obviously understands that Alex Pereira has that left hook, and that left hook is absolutely dangerous. I think that Magomed Ankalaev is going to be prepared for that. He's going to take a little bit better of a approach to this and use more grappling over Alex Pereira than he has in the past. So give me Magomed Ankalaev to beat Alex Pereira. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here. Sitting at basically even, negative 116 to negative 104 for Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, these odds are literally a coin flip, which many of these fights are as well. I mean, you have a striker in Alex Pereira against Magomed Ankalaev, who is a striker. Let's not forget that. He is mainly a striker. He just has a little bit of grappling to fall back on if he needs to, but he is mainly a striker. I do favor Alex Pereira if this stays on the feet. I'm hoping that Magomed Ankalaev is a little bit smarter and uses the grappling and mixes it in with the striking to get the better of Alex Pereira rather than staying on the feet and really trying to just slug it out and strike with Alex Pereira. I think that'll be a big mistake for Magomed Ankalaev because I think Alex Pereira's fight IQ is very, very high, and he's a very, very good kickboxer. So let's not forget that. Let's hope Magomed Ankalaev uses more grappling in with his striking and gets the better of Alex Pereira. That's what I believe is going to happen, and that's why I went ahead and picked Magomed Ankalaev over Alex Pereira. Over 1.5 sitting at a -385, over 2.5 sitting at a -160, over 3.5 sitting at a -110. I like the side of under 4.5 or even under 3.5. I think somebody's going to get starched, and I think it's going to be a Alex Pereira with the side of counter striking from Magomed Ankalaev. So if you guys haven't, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of the video in the comments below. Also, make sure you guys join in on the flock. We got members only Discord, members only shorts, and members only live streams, along with members only group bets every Wednesday. So make sure you guys tune in, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.